Barney Frank is at one time was considered to be a progressive. He left this. He left his position in the House, and he took a job as a banker. He has proven in many ways not to be the progressive that many people thought he was, particularly because he began to work on the opposite side of the equation, where we have been trying to create structures that protected consumers, structures that protected the economy, structures that protected capitalism from itself, quite frankly. And the man who helped build some of those structures is now working on the other side of the fence. That's one. That's a Cliff Note version of it. You can dig into it for yourself. The second part of it is that Barney Frank is quite literally a very partisan, very outspoken, very vocal person who has beef, long-standing animosity with Bernie Sanders. And so this weekend, when Bernie Sanders made the play saying that he felt like Barney Frank should be removed from his position leading into the Democratic National Convention, you would think that people would consider all of the baggage that they have, all of the complicated issues that exist between progressives and Barney Frank, quite frankly, and Bernie Sanders and Barney Frank. They've got history. You would think that people would place this in the context of maybe bad blood that goes back some years, maybe just disagreements on philosophical and ideological terms, that goes back some years. Maybe people would cast this in the conversation about how they may have been on the same side and now they are basically political enemies. You could really cast this as a great falling out of two ostensibly progressive brothers who at one time were fighting on the same side of issues in some ways, and now they are completely at odds. You could have cast this as a great narrative of this 2016 deciding what's really progressive and what's not. Or is there such a thing as progressivism, or is it just a figment? You could have even cast it in that narrative. But instead of doing any substantive, any meaningful, or any probing narratives and investigation, the play this weekend is that Bernie Sanders is now homophobic because he had the nerve to challenge a LGBTQ former statesman. And you have, I feel nauseated just having to talk about how willingly people on Hillary Clinton's team are so transparent with their obtuseness, right? They have no qualm whatsoever with putting out the most fatuous positions possible that have no relevance, that have no grounding in actual logic, has completely ridiculous positions to reduce a conversation about two feuding statesmen who have fundamentally different views on how progressivism should be represented in America, and they would rather just play the yellow journalism card of Bernie Sanders is now homophobic. This is the ridiculousness that has become the 2016 election. This is how ridiculous the Democratic Party has become, because this is what we've devolved into.